All right, welcome back. So this is the ideal view that we came up with. And let's take a look back at our code. I did do some cleanup here. So it's all been extracted into this one class called visualization. And it's got this static method called hide house exterior, which takes in a viewport handle. And within this method, we call our change category display to set our category IDs to false. And all the logic for getting the category IDs using our ECSQL statement has been pushed into this get category IDs method. The only difference in this code versus what we had before is the way we're getting our iModel connection. So the viewport handle does keep a pointer towards our iModel connection. And this is a pretty commonly used trick to get access to our iModel connection. Okay, so now you know all the changes of the code that we made, so you know where to find this. And now it's time for us to head back to our model. So at this point, we're in a pretty good place with the way our ideal view looks for our app. The one thing we can probably improve are these lines that we see around the elements. They're a little distracting, and I think we can probably get rid of them. Now, what are they? So they're part of these properties that we call the view attributes. So let's take a look at those real quick. So I have a sample app over here called the view attribute sample that demonstrates what these are. And I'll post a link to this at the bottom. But in a nutshell, what they are a set of properties that we can change to modify the way our model is rendered within a certain view. And over here to the right, we can see some examples. Now, just to give you a few, there's a render mode that changes the way the entire model is rendered. We can do solid fill, we can do wireframe mode. Let's go back to smooth shade. And then we can make the model monochrome. And then also we can turn on shadows. And the one that we're looking for are the visible edges. So if we turn these off, we get a nice clean model that we can use within our app. So how do we change this within our code? Now there's an API for that. It's called the display style settings props. And it gives us a list of view attributes that we can modify and set and pass into the viewport. Within this list, there's a subcategory called view flags, and this contains the one that we're looking for. So let's check it out. Let's see what we have here. We have monochrome. Then we have the shadows that we saw, and then we have visible edges. So we'll need to set this property to false and then pass it into our viewport. And how do we do that? Let's head back over to our code and I'll give you an example. So let's create a new variable here. Let's call it our view style. And this will be of display style settings props, the interface that we just saw. And within this, we just need to worry about the property that we want to set. So in this case, we are looking for our view flags. And then within that, we are looking for our visible edges. So we turn those to false, and that's all we need to do. At this point, we can just pass in our view style into our viewport. And the method we need is override display style, which came up on top. Perfect. And I pass in my view style and hit save. Now let's head on over to our app. Wait for our model to render. And here it is. Let's fit view. There you go. We got our nice clean model ready to go for our Smart House app. Now I'm going to show you one more view attribute just to drive the point home. I want you to take a look at this section of our model. What we're going to do is we're going to turn on our shadows and see how they look. So let's go back here, turn on shadows, set them to true, hit save, head back to our model, give it a second to load. And over here, now you can see that we have shadows coming in from the elements on the second floor. So that's how you change your view attributes if you want to further refine the visualization of your model. And I showed you the application, the sample app that has a list of properties that you can play with to take your view to a more ideal place. And that pretty much wraps up this subject. Now the only thing I want to do is go over a couple more points that you want to consider when you make these view modifications or hide categories. So let's head on over to our conclusion.